It feels like it's in the air for longer. That was a good swing.
Now we're talking.
I'm carrying it 260.
That's right.
Let's go.
Perfect.
Yeah, that was really good. That was pretty ideal.
You did carry on average everything about 4 yards further.
Don't hit that.
No?
I'm telling you.
So the idea is I want every club in your bag to have the same peak height.
Okay.
If they don't, they shouldn't be in your bag. The mechanism behind it is each club in your bag should separate by 5 miles an hour of ball speed. So if you hit your 7-iron, we're going to see what ball speed it is. Let's say it's 120.
Okay.
Your 6 should be 125. And because there's 5 between it, that's going to make your 7-iron peak height at 100 also be your 6-iron peak height at 100.
Oh, I see.
If you have 2 golf clubs that get too close to each other,
Yeah.
they're the same tool.
Okay. Okay.
So
cool.
we have to figure out where in your set do things start to get a little weird.
Got it.
But we're going to focus just on the fairway part. So I just want to see what that delta is
Okay.
in your 7-year driver.
Yeah.
So if I was working with you today
Mm-hmm.
on your irons, I would advise you that that is going to be your problem in your 6 and your 5-iron.
Too low spin?
Yes, because that's not 100.
Right.
I can't really change the ball speed of a 7-iron. And so the only way I give it more lift is I give it more spin. Remember, you're going to lose 1,000 RPMs of spin every club after your 7-iron.
Right.
So your driver spins 22 to 25.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to be 45 in your 6,
Yeah.
35 in your 5,
Yeah.
and now you're at your driver spin.
You know, it's funny. It makes sense because, like, whenever I have a long iron in my hands, like, I would feel really, really good if I was either into the wind to help the ball stop,
Sure.
or if I was on a par 3 and I almost like felt like I could tee the ball up
Yeah.
and swing up
Yeah.
and get it really high. Then I could get the long irons to stop great.
So what's really cool
Does that make
is,
sense?
it absolutely does. You hit your 7-iron really far for your club head speed. It's not a 7-iron. It's a 6-iron.
It's a
fi-
loft.
Right? It absolutely. So you would be better off hitting this club 165 or even
Yeah.
160 at
Right.
100 feet for 2 reasons. One, you could fit different golf clubs up top to facilitate the stopping ability,
Right.
and you wouldn't feel so uncomfortable with your
Yeah.
long irons. I
Yeah.
also watched you hit a 5-iron earlier and
Yeah.
low.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it was really helpful for me in women's golf. The distances for me, just I was on the longer side for sure.
Absolutely.
So I oftentimes didn't even really ever even need 7-iron.
You're right.
So like mentally, when I was hitting mid to long iron, a lot of times it was like in 2 on a par 5. So
Right.
like I didn't mind having that kind of like
Yeah.
chase mentality.
Yeah.
So I actually kind of loved like getting to step up with like
Yeah.
a 9-iron
Yeah.
when everyone else is hitting 5.
Yeah. And when you start getting to that next level, the golf course starts to ask even more of you,
Yes.
because you start playing tour conditions. Like, you think of US Open, right?
Right.
What's the most challenging part?
Yeah.
It's hard to stop the
Yeah.
ball on the
Firm
green.
and fast.
Even for players who hit it really high with a ton of spin.
Right.
So that's where the players who start to get low in their approach start to crank up their score.
Right.
So it doesn't always help you everywhere, but for the
Yeah.
most part, it's probably time for some new grooves too.
Yeah, I know.
All right, hit this. This is this is an 18-degree fairway metal.
Okay, great.
So if your 7-iron is 122 miles per hour, this is in theory a 3-iron replacement club. So this
Okay.
should be 20 miles an hour faster. So
Okay.
This should be about 142 miles an hour of ball speed.
So
That's the goal.
okay. Got
That
it.
makes sense?
Yes.
Okay, you need a ball. Sorry.
No, all good. That was just a really bad swing, Lucas. I'm not kidding.
It's
Like
okay. It's fair.
that was I shouldn't have even took that club back. All right.
Remember, you can blame me.
I'm not
I can
blaming
give
you.
you a bad golf club. I'm capable of doing that.
I'm not blaming you.
I'm not above it. I'll take it.
All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Ooh,
Really like that strike.
that felt really good.
That's good. So 141 ball speed. So remember, we want exactly 20 miles an hour more than our 7-iron. because that's 5 miles an hour for every club. So
Right.
6, 5, 4, 3.
Okay.
So there's our 20.
Nice.
Even though we as a player have a tendency to be a little bit on the low side of spin, at least the peak height was the exact same as the 7-iron.
Okay.
But now you found your place where there's potential for you to get better, or I, as the fitter, have to say, you know what? She was successful in her golf career because she could hit it further, even though it was a little bit lower. Because that's where I have to put my ego in check too.
Yeah, it depends on who you ask, Lucas.
Well, of course.
Like I said, I trust you.
I appreciate that.
I really like the way this looks at address.
Good. Shot feel okay?
Yeah.
Great shot.
Thank you.
You think that's gonna go as high?
No, and it's probably the spin's gonna be way too low.
And the speed probably won't be fast enough because the heads are different sizes.
Yeah.
So the smaller you make the head,
yeah.
the slower it goes. The bigger you make the head, the faster the ball speed capabilities.
Right.
So I kind of jumped ahead 4 or 5 steps, but if I gave you the biggest option at 21 degrees and I hit my ball speed, usually every one that I start to make smaller starts to get slower and slower and slower.
Okay.
But let's try it.
We're talking still ball speed, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do in your golf swing to make that ball go up in the air? You're going to try to lift it.
Yeah.
And what is that club designed to do?
Not lift it.
Correct. Because it's not on a tee.
Right.
So when you put a long iron on a tee, you can then lift it and get away with it.
Right. That was me trying to hit a high cut to get the ball to go higher,
So
which it did, but
in this example, it's not you.
yeah,
You're getting bad feedback.
yeah,
Maybe one day it was good feedback, but you also have to say, where was I before I put this club in play?
Yeah.
Right? That's hard for me to know that timeline.
yeah. No, I think that club does need a replacement. It was really, really great at the start, but again, like for two things, for like sort of a utility club off the tee.
Yeah, that's fair.
But the dispersion wasn't necessarily a whole lot better than a driver or a 3-wood. It was I would more just use it for like distance.
Yeah.
And again, it was great to chase par 5s into.
Okay.
But that would have to be a pretty specific number.
Right.
Because otherwise I would just use a 3-wood to get more out of it.
Right.
So it would have to be like right around that like 230-ish.
Okay.
Because then 3-wood would be too much.
So like that conversation that you just had with yourself, I have a lot with players.
Yeah.
And I show them what a square club face looks and they go, oh my gosh, it looks so open. But good players usually have good instincts.
Good,
so you
yeah.
go, oh, I'm shutting the club face.
Yeah.
And you realize that like it wasn't, so let me show you that shot.
Yeah, that was a good shot. Yeah.
That's your peak height. Anytime you're hitting in a launch monitor, you should ignore everything and just look at that.
Okay.
If the club that you're testing isn't going 100 feet, it's not the club for you.
Okay.
Because your swing creates 100 feet of peak height.
Right.
120 is too much because it's spinny and kind of up in the air. 80 is no good because it's just going to crash on you, and left is your miss. It's kind of that simple. I joke around that fitting is easy. It's people that are challenging. Because it takes a long time to set up like all these little tiny things and what they mean and what they're here to do.
Right.
We're on a hill.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's the fun part though. What do you use your 3-wood for? Off the deck or off the tee?
Either, but again, I would only really use it off the tee. Like I wouldn't say historically my dispersion with a 3-wood has been all that much better. So I would say that I would use 3-wood when I have to lay up to something that would be, 250 plus, 260 plus.
Would you feel differently about it off the tee if your dispersion was better? Like, is that something that you're lacking in your set? Or do you feel like that just doesn't come up that often?
I wouldn't say it comes up that often.
So off the ground is more.
Yeah.
Let's do off the ground then.
Okay.
I asked that question because I want it to work in its most prominent use case.
Yeah, well, you know what? I mean,
Now that I mention,
now that you mention it, like, I would, like, because I do still hit a 3-wood pretty long,
Yeah.
like, it would be really nice if it did have better dispersion off a tee.
let's
Because
hit off a tee then.
okay.
Because what I'm observing, it's a bit of a baited question. Because you have a 21-degree fairway metal in your bag now, now you have a fairway metal that guarantees it goes up in the air and lands softly from a farther distance away.
Yeah,
And
okay.
so now that's kind of your off the ground tool, and maybe this is off your tee tool.
Okay.
Or, hey, I've got a perfect lie. I've got a really, really, you know, big, like I can miss anywhere because of the hole.
Yeah.
I can hit 3-wood here.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I like it. I mean, I would rarely pull a 3-wood if I had to hit it in a tight dispersion,
you're a
like
good
off
driver.
yeah.
I'd tell you to hit driver too.
Was that really good, or did I pop it up?
You popped it up kind of good.
Mix of the two.
You popped it up pretty good.
Okay.
But it was straight.
Because the sound is so different.
it was a little
It's
different.
like,
It's a little off. It's okay.
I could probably-
We might have to drop down a little bit, but that's easy to do. Great shot.
thank you. That's probably as good as it's gonna get.
Okay, let's look at it. So you were 140 miles an hour in the 21-degree fairway, which means I need at least 145 miles an hour in the next club. So there's your 146 almost. But what do you notice about the peak height?
It's higher.
Yeah, so what is that doing to your golf ball? Because we know 100 is good for you. It's falling short of its potential distance because it's coming in really, really steep. You're losing
Too
more
steep.
energy up instead of forward.
Okay, so would we just adjust the loft
Yeah,
then?
we changed to 15.
Nice.
Now, if I changed it, if I said to you, if you hit it on the ground and you lost some height because of that, this might be better.
Yeah.
But because we want to use it off the tee, we're going to take advantage of lowering the loft.
Okay. I mean, ideally, I would like to use it for both, but
For sure.
yeah.
It's rare you get both with a 3-wood, but that doesn't mean that we can't get greedy.
Yeah. Okay.
But remember, if you're not hitting your tee shot through your window, you're going to make adjustments in your golf swing whether you want to or not.
Right.
So that's kind of the first thing that I'm trying to get out of the way.
Right.
Because a 3-wood off the ground is more technique driven than spec driven.
Right. Right. That makes sense.
Great shot.
Thank you.
Little toey,
Just a little bit. Yeah.
not bad.
That's exactly what I felt. I mean, the swing felt good, just a little toey, but
It's okay. It's dead straight. So when the ball's flying really straight, what that tells me is head style is good, length of shaft is good, shaft type is fine.
I love the way it looks.
Good. Yeah, I like that.
Thanks.
So ball speed jumped up. Remember you were 145 and some change?
Uh-huh.
That was 146.
And that was with just I pushed it just barely.
Yeah, the only thing I don't like about it is it looks like you're trying to lift it too much.
I swear I wasn't.
I know you weren't. I think the 16.5 is going to be better overall.
Alrighty.
It's close. We can always kick it down a little bit if we need to.
Okay. So that one was 16?
That was 15 you just hit. This is 16 in your hands. And then when you are both, you miss every putt.
Exactly. Oh, tale as old as time.
That's
like
right.
this.
I mean, that was pretty good for a left miss.
Yeah, no, it was. It actually, nice, that's exactly what we want, right?
Yeah. Like I said, I'm in charge of north and south. You're in charge of east and west.
Already.
I'm going to do my best to help you, but at a certain point, you got to learn to drive the car straight. There it is.
Very
Okay.
good.
So what you just showed yourself is how length of shaft affects a player's launch up and down. The shorter I make it, the more you can cover it.
Yeah.
So you had too much height. I don't look to shaft for profile to change it, but I do look to length. If you're hitting really good shots with a loft, but you're kind of getting up in the air and doing this, usually
Yeah.
the club's too long.
Okay.
If you're a really, really covering player and driving it low and you can't get the ball elevated, sometimes you can lengthen the shaft to
That makes
help
sense.
the ball get up in the air.
I believe it. I believe
You
it.
usually make a player shorter before you make them longer,
Right.
but longer sometimes does help. All right,
Interesting.
so here's what I like.
Makes sense. I mean, when the club is longer, like I feel like I want to just help it up.
I like these three. I think you keep your driver shaft.
Okay.
I'll write specs to match. GT2 16.5. It's kicked down a little bit, so it opens the face just a touch.
Okay.
I'll make this 42 inches, and I'll make this 41 inches. Because this is 41 and a half, this is 42 and a half.
Okay.
Because you being able to grip down them will probably help a little bit.
Okay.
I could also make them 41 and a half, 42 and a half, and let you feel like you grip down on it. Because sometimes players just want to know that they're doing this.
Yeah.
And then you could always cut it.
Yeah.
And that way you're not just stuck in something that's a length that worked one time.
Yeah. Why don't we do that?
Okay.
I like it because I mean, obviously, just doing that on one shot, gripping down just a little bit,
Yeah.
I had no issue.
Because sometimes when you cut a player's clubs, you're doing it to get them a feeling.
Yeah.
And then they can take that feeling to a longer club.
Right.
And they get more out of it.
Totally.
Because there's more length. So
Totally.
this will be 42 and a half inches. This will be 41 and a half inches. And this will be 45 inches.
Awesome.
So this will say half inch short, standard. Ignore that. Just know that we're getting to the end result where we were.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So, never mind.
Questions?
This will
Yeah.
be the same length than what I'm currently
Yeah.
playing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Perfect.
Questions, comments, concerns?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Thanks so much for all your help.
You're very
this
welcome.
was a lot of fun.
Thank you for coming out and doing this.
Yeah, no, it was my pleasure. Gosh, can't wait.
Awesome.
Scores are going to go low.
I hope so.